Right, what is up? We are alive. Good to see everybody on here today. Got a poll question up, which we will get into in just a minute. And it is the NASCAR points format. It will change in 2026, will not change in 2026. They will change it, but somehow make it worse. Those are the options. Had to use two sections for that last one because I only get so many characters in a question. So combined two for that one. But either way you vote there, I'll just combine those. But if you just vote on the bottom one, that'll make it a lot easier. I won't have to do math live and on air. But it is what it is. So far, they will change it, but somehow make it worse is leading early on with 11 votes. So I guess the big stories coming out here are obviously that the Clash. We've got the Clash this week, and we've got some pretty good race cars in that particular Clash. Only going to take about, let's see, 20 or so of them. Let me pull up the starting lineup if I can. Got some sponsor news too. Ty Dillon got another sponsor here, and so did Kyle Busch. Bank OZK for Kyle Busch. And then Seabest is going to be sponsoring Ty Dillon as well. So let's see here. What was I looking up? And then no changes to the playoffs. I guess that's the other big one, the other big story here. Let's see if I can find that Clash. There we go. We got Daniel Suarez, SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Carson Hocevar. No surprises there. Michael McDowell, of course, in the 71 this season. Garrett Smithley in the 66. So that's one that is not a Cup regular. Ryan Preece over there in the 60, a Cup regular, but of course with a new team. Ty Gibbs going to be in the field. Cody Ware in the 51. Then you got Burt Myers in the number 50. His crew chief's going to be Tony Uri for the Amerivet. Carl Long entry. Garage 66, not Garage 66, but Amerivet team, formerly the Money team. Sorry about that. So that's going to be that entry there. Burt Myers, really big name at Bowman Gray. Be interesting to see what he can do. Is he going to have the equipment to do anything? Historically, that 50 team has been significantly underfunded and underperformed. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get anything going with that car over there. Alex Bowman going to be driving for Hendrick Motorsports, of course. Then you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, Todd Gilliland, William Byron, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Josh Berry, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, AJ Allmendinger. Then we get to another interesting entry here with Tim Brown driving the number 15. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Ty Dillon, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Justin Haley, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Noah Gragson, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, and Ross Chastain. And of course, Garrett Smithley going to be driving for Garage 66. So you got three guys there. Two of them Bowman Gray regulars. It's going to be interesting to see if they can get into the field somehow. But just making the cuts and all that, the qualifying races, which are going to go on, that'll be pretty good to watch as well. So that's sort of the big story coming up this week. The Clash itself. Are people excited for it? I did kind of want to put that up as a poll question, but I thought the bigger story this week has been NASCAR not making changes to the playoff system. So let's get into that real quick. So there's one school of thought that NASCAR is just ignoring what happened last season. They think that Joey Logano over there, because he won, that's why this is one school of thought. I'm not saying this is what NASCAR is thinking, but because Joey Logano won, fans are just salty because there's a lot of Joey Logano haters out there. So there's one school of thought that NASCAR is we're just going to let a season go by. Hopefully this thing will all blow over and we'll never have to change the playoffs. So there's that school of thought. They think that last season was an aberration. It only ran bad because, it was just an aberration that last season got so much controversy out of it. The Austin Dillon thing will never happen again. We've taken care of that with the new rule change, yada, 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 blah, 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 right? So that is one school of thought. The other school of thought is that NASCAR just didn't have enough time in the offseason. The way it went down, they didn't expect this much backlash. And because it was the last race of the season, they didn't have enough of a turnaround time to get everything sort of worked out with the TV partners for them to change significantly the playoffs. So they're just going to have to wait a year before they do anything. And according to NASCAR's official response, they didn't want to make sort of minor changes. They didn't want to keep making minor changes every single season. They're just going to wait till allegedly, like I guess their process of thought here is if we make a change, we'll make a big change in 2026. So that is sort of NASCAR's position on it, for lack of a better way of explaining it or anything like that. And so that's interesting as well. So it's just like people fall on both sides. I sort of lean toward NASCAR's position that they probably did understand last season went as poorly as could possibly go for a lot of fans. I feel like the overwhelming majority of fans were not happy with the way last season ended, but they probably didn't have enough time, especially when you consider TV partners and things like that, to change everything they needed to change to make the playoff format better than it is. And then of course there's a lot of old school fans that are like, just bring back the old school points, which is not going to happen because of the TV partners, where it's just season long points. I think season long points would be the best, but it's just not coming back. NASCAR has deemed that not to be a situation that they can sell to their TV partners. So we have to have some type of playoff in NASCAR's line of thinking. So we're kind of stuck with the clash. I mean, I'm sorry, we're sort of stuck with the playoff format that we have, the win and you're in, and the win and you're in. I feel like is probably the biggest thing that is upsetting a lot of fans. They want to get rid of the win and you're in. So essentially, that would sort of take it back to probably the Jimmy Johnson type playoff, except you would have cutoffs in that round. So there's all kinds of different ways to look at it. I've got my own thoughts on it, how it could be played out, but I want to make a proper video on that before I just sort of throw it out sort of willy-nilly out here before I've had time to sit down and really think about it. But I've got a pretty good idea on that. My idea for it is sort of like a Final Four, because the NCAA tournament, I feel like as far as tournaments go, that's the one in the United States that gets the most attention, the most viewership as far as a tournament format could go. So I would borrow some ideas from that, but I still have to kind of work that one out all the way in my head. But essentially, you have four champions meet, and that's your Final Four, and then they have a playoff. So you can kind of figure out possibly where I'm going with that. But yeah, that's sort of the news that sort of broke today. Corey LaJoie. The only other thing, Corey LaJoie is getting like a little bit of backlash because he made a comment that he would rather race on Sundays because that's his dream. I'm paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. He would rather race on Sundays than to race on Friday and Saturday nights in front of 12 fans, referring to grassroots motorsports and stuff like that. And he's caught a lot of backlash for that. Now, he may not have worded it probably the best way you could word it. I'll say that. But essentially, what he's saying is not necessarily all that offensive. I think the only reason it caught this much momentum and this much steam is it's the off season. People are bored. They want some type of news about NASCAR because they just don't have any racing to watch right now as far as Cup Series stuff goes. So it probably got a lot of traction because of that. But what he's essentially saying is it's his dream to race on Sundays. He doesn't want to be racing any other time. So that's why he didn't go down. He's going to run a partial schedule in the Cup Series under his own brand with help from Rick Ware. But that's why he's not running essentially grass level or going back to any other form of motorsports. He wants to stay in the Cup Series because that's his dream. That's what he was meaning to say. But the way he worded it, because he says he doesn't want to race on Friday or Saturday nights in front of 12 fans, people felt like he was taking a shot at local short track racing, or people felt he was taking a shot at ARCA, or he was taking a shot at trucks or Xfinity. And I can see where you can get there because of the way it's worded, but I don't think that was necessarily his intention. That wasn't his intent. He obviously cares a great deal about local racing and short track racing. His family makes the seats for a lot of race car drivers, and they make great seats. I had one in my limited when I bought it. Didn't fit exactly right for me, so I traded out, and somebody was very happy to get it because they do make very quality seats. But So he does care. My point in saying that he does care about the local level. I think he just worded his comment the wrong way, but a lot of people have taken it the wrong way. And he's taking shots at the local level. I don't think that's what he was doing at all. He was just trying to communicate that he wants to race on Sundays because that's his dream. It's kind of like back in the day when Ty Gibbs said the Jesus thing. He's like, Jesus was hated, so I expect to be hated too. He wasn't necessarily comparing himself to Jesus. Ty Gibbs wasn't, but that's the way people took it, and that's the way people ran with it. What Ty Gibbs was saying is, if Jesus was perfect and people hated him, me, Ty Gibbs, not being perfect, I expect people to hate me as well. That's what he meant to say, but the way, of course, the way it was said, it's another situation like that. It's not necessarily what they meant; it's how they said it. So the way that it was said, sort of clumsily, that's what's getting sort of the backlash there in both of those cases. So it really reminded me of the Ty Gibbs deal. I knew what he meant, but the way he said it led to a lot of people not liking the way it was said. And I feel like Corey LaJoy in the same boat here. All right, let's jump into the comment section. Once again, the poll question is NASCAR points format. Will it change in 2026? Will it not change in 2026? They will change it, but somehow make it worse. Those are the options. All right, let's see what you guys are talking about here. What's up, one wise guy? What's up, Lanes? What's up, B? Cars on track at Rockingham. Yeah, so they did practice at Rockingham today. So you getting a lot of pictures and images from that as well. Elise, what's going on? Good to see you on here. One wise guy, what's up, buddy? BB, did you watch the documentary last night about the Madhouse? I missed it. I did not catch it. I was working on some other stuff, but I am going to try to catch a rerun of it. But the Madhouse, I'm pretty. Have never been to a race there, but just because it's so close to where I work at during the week sometimes, and just I have a lot of friends that have raced there. We've worked with people that race there, so shout out to. I meant to mention this. Shout out to Riley Neal. He's going to be running in the modified race before the Clash. So pull for Riley Neal, the Winston-Salem Dash, purple and white modified. We're pulling for him on the Baloneyberg gang. If you don't have somebody that you're already pulling for in that race, go with Riley Neal there. It'll be the whites with a purple lettering car. Really good looking car. Really cool deal that he got that sponsorship. His Mike Brown, his tire guy. Shout out to Mike Brown as well. Friend of the channel, gave me a really cool hat. I haven't forgot about you, Mike. I'm going to get up there. We're going to get up and hang out. I got a t-shirt and a hat for you as well, my friend. But anyway, at least bringing up rest in peace, Bill Weber. Incredibly sad loss. The man was super underrated. And that's a good point. I was a big, huge Bill Weber fan. I was not familiar with everything that went down at the end of his career. I thought he just quit, but that wasn't necessarily the case. And I only bring that up because you notice NASCAR or nobody in the media, he passed away on December 13th. I didn't see anything in the media about it until literally yesterday. So I don't know how he went out or anything like that. I don't have necessarily the details on it, but for whatever reason, NASCAR did not say anything about Bill Weber passing, and I think that's just kind of crappy, to be totally honest with you. I can't believe this just totally flew and slid under the radar because he was a huge part of racing for a long time. He was one of my favorite announcers, and I don't know. I don't understand why. I don't know. I don't know why he wasn't honored the way that people would normally be honored there. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. Benjamin Lawson, what's up? What's up, Russell Dominguez? I can't wait to see Cup cars on track at the Madhouse. That's going to be a good time. I'm just excited that the Madhouse is getting a big event like this. I don't know if it'll ever be back, so this might be a one-time only, and hopefully it goes really well, and hopefully it's just a super good time for everybody because it's a unique place. It's a great place. So definitely, hopefully everything goes well for this one. They don't have rain or any crazy situation shorten the event. Who's going to win the Clash, says Benjamin Lawson. That's a great question. They're going to a new-ish track, but it's going to be sort of similar to where they were racing at in LA. But whenever you to a new track, of course, Joey Logano has to be one of your picks. I would say Kyle Larson would also have to be one of your picks. Kyle Busch would have to be one of your picks. Tyler Reddick actually runs really good. Or if you remember the first few races, he had a fast car at the Coliseum as well. So I'd put Tyler Reddick in that mix too. Who else? I don't know. I guess that would probably be my main four right there. Off the top of my head, what's up, Rosie? Good to see you on here. Hey, chat. Happy Mr. BB. Happy Tuesday. Let's see. Happy, definitely agree on Bill. Best hype up man we ever had. Rest in peace, says Bumblebee. I agree. He was definitely one of the better ones of all time. His famous, in my opinion, his most famous tagline was "We looked it up, so you don't have to." I feel like he said that a lot. That always sort of resonated with me. He always had like a cool factoid and would drop that at the end of it. I got $50 on Bill Jr. in the 9 to win Bowman Gray, says Elisa. She's going with Clyde, old Clyde Jr. to win the race there. Chase Elliott. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all. Ready for Alex Bowman and Taylor Gray clash, says Napa Racing fan. What's up, BB and Wise Guy, says OJ. What's up, OJ? Even and BB Head, says Mark Barnum. For the first time in a while, happy NASCAR race week, everyone, says Cody Ledger. Indeed. Good to finally say those words for sure. My pick is Bill, but Barry is going to be strong too. Yeah, don't sleep on Josh Berry. That's a good pick. Good pick, Lloyd. Josh Berry definitely going to be a good pick. And yeah, once again, don't forget about Christopher Bell. He's solid at every racetrack he goes to. He's always a threat to win, but nobody talks about him. So yeah, two good picks there. Good call there. Casey Kane returning to Rockingham. Gets to go out on his own terms, says Napa. Yeah, for sure. That was a super popular video that I made. So I know a lot of people are interested. That's how I gauge interest is how many people watch the videos. When that one came out, it got a ton of views. So a lot of people are going to be super stoked to see Casey Kane back. Driving for Hendrick as a sponsor in an RCR car, which is probably the most Chevrolet thing that could ever be Chevrolet. Rest in peace to Bill Weber. Love that clip I showed of him calling the Lowe's Motor Speedway, calling out the Lowe's Motor Speedway caution truck, says OJ and Toothpaste. Indeed. In the Discord is what OJ's talking about. I missed the racing, but not the phony playoffs this offseason, says Napa. Yeah, I think people are still not happy with the playoff system, but we're race fans, so we'll probably keep watching anyway, but not everybody. So we'll see. Owner-driver deal didn't work out so well in the 90s. Not sure if Jimmy Johnson's pockets are deep enough, says Delmer Kaufman. Yeah, so he's now the head man over there at Legacy, formerly Petty GMS, formerly Richard Petty Motorsports. Feels like it changes names every 2 years or so over there. So we'll see what it is in a few years. They're calling it the club now, is kind of what I was getting at there. He's taken a long-term approach, and I made a pretty long video about this, so I'm not going to totally rehash that, but he's sort of taken a long-term approach to sort of build he wants to build his company up like a Joe Gibbs, like a Hendrick, and he thinks to do that, he's got to build it all from in-house, all internally. He can't just keep using other people's information. So he's doing it, he's going about it a little bit of a different way. Whereas Petty GMS, when they were winning races, they were borrowing that, they were basically buying those setups from other teams. So just a different way of going about it. Quattro, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here as always. NASCAR will be testing cars off-site before Bowman Gray race. What do you think that means for the future and possibly smaller tracks that we've never been to? Yeah, they probably got an eye on where they're going to race at next year, whether it be Bowman Gray or other places. So we'll have to see. And then the way they're doing tech here is because you can't, there's not enough room to do a NASCAR style tech at Bowman Gray. They're doing all the tech in Charlotte and then sending the cars wherever. So you could see a race in the future where NASCAR has their tech building or their tech tent at one location, and all the cars go through tech over there. Then they're impounded and they're just taken to the racetrack by NASCAR. This could be a sign of things for the future for these one-off type of events like Bowman Gray, like the Clash at the Coliseum. Delmer Kaufman, he's got a whole company providing money for the team now. Apparently, yeah, he's got a just a company that invests in other companies type company, dropping a lot of money in there. So we'll see. They do seem to have a lot of good sponsorship money coming in. My concern is if the performance doesn't get there quick enough, are those sponsors going to stay around? But that sponsor buying into the actual team, you would assume that money will be there. So we'll see. We'll probably get a Hertz sponsorship out of the deal too, because that company, I can't call their name, Nighthead or something. I think it's Nighthead. That company owns Hertz, so you might see a Hertz rent-a-car paint scheme coming for them as well. Blunderberger, not sure if I told you this in a previous stream, but I like Bell's Mobile One scheme. It is a good looking scheme. And of course, Briscoe's Bass Pro Shop scheme as well. Noah Gregson, he's got the Tim Richmond thirst trap out. If you've seen some of the preseason pictures, he's got the fire suit open once again, and the hamburger meat is hanging out. Noah Gregson, continuing to be a rock star. Hopefully, he can get some wins to go with that swag this season. I think he will. He hasn't been with a team for an extended period of time, and he is basically taking over the same team he was with last year. So this is the first time that he's had 2 consecutive years with basically the same team, even though it's going to technically a different team. So hopefully he'll be able to get some continuity and put some more things together for this season coming up. Let's see. Logano's 2024 championship is the flukiest and phoniest championship in racing history, maybe even sports history, says Napa Racing Fan. That is certainly how a lot of people feel about it. That being said, I'm not going to take anything out on Joey Logano. Joey Logano and Penske raced the system the way the system is laid out. So he is 100% the champion. They played the game better than anybody else played. And I think where the rage and the frustration need to be put on is the game. Like the system itself is where you need to focus all the rage. I know a lot of people are upset with Joey Logano. Don't hate the player, hate the game. We should hate the game because he just played the game that was laid out in front of everybody. But certainly, he's a polarizing driver to say the least. So there's going to be some built-in hate for that anyway. Anytime he wins, going to be interesting what Hamlin's King's Hawaiian scheme will look like. Says in between the lanes, that is going to be interesting. Crazy. You really were starting to associate King's Hawaiian with that number 6 car with Roush Fenway Keselowski, and great thing for RFK to get the Kroger sponsorship. But because Kroger is bringing Bimbo bread with them, King's Hawaiian saw that as a conflict of interest to have 2 bread brands on the car. So their loss as far as King's Hawaiian goes is Denny Hamlin's gain, and we'll see what they can do with that bright orange paint scheme that we're more used to seeing right now on the 6 car. But who does it become more iconic with? Because you saw Mavis is leaving, and essentially it would probably sponsor a lot of those races that Mavis was being sponsored in. And Denny Hamlin won quite a few times in those Mavis colors. Can he do the same thing in the King's Hawaiian colors? And if he does that, do you start in your brain, when you think about paint schemes, you think about, Meliella, always think about Kyle Petty. A lot of people think Days of Thunder, but I always think 42 Kyle Petty. Who are you going to think of more, I guess, when somebody says King's Hawaiian? Are you going to think Brad Keselowski now, or are you going to think Denny Hamlin? It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. When I hear King's Hawaiian, I still think number 6, but as the season goes on, will that change? It'll be interesting how stuff like that plays out. I'll tell you another interesting one. When I say tied race car, which driver do you think of? And whichever driver you come up with, it tells what generation you started watching racing. Is it Darrell Waltrip? Is it Ricky Rudd? Is it Ricky Craven? Is it Kevin Harvick? Who was your tied driver? That's another one of those fun ones. M&M's, Kyle Busch, like you immediately go to that, even though Ken Schrader and others have driven an M&M's car. NASCAR channel debuts on Tubi tomorrow. That's pretty cool. So you will be able probably to watch that documentary on Tubi as well. Let's see. What's up, BB and Crew, says T-Van. What's up, T-Van? Good to see you on here, my friend. I like the Trackhouse schemes for Ross and SVG for the Clash, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, Trackhouse hardly ever misses as far as schemes go. 100% on that. I'm with you. A ton of AA and Letarte in the booth this year. Adam Alexander. Okay, I was stuck on Eric Almirola for some reason there. So sorry about that, Napa fan. Yeah, Adam Alexander and Steve Letarte in the booth this year. Yep, we'll see how that plays out. Let's see. I don't hate any driver, but I really don't care much for Logano at all. Especially the broadcast booth, trying to understand him is difficult. Says Lloyd Barnes. Yeah, he for whatever reason, like a lot of the reason is Martin Truex. There's a lot of Martin Truex Jr. fans who just aren't happy at all. A lot of Matt Kenseth fans, like some of it goes back to that. But yeah, I feel like that's probably the most. That's where a lot of the hate comes from. But it's not just limited to those drivers, I would say. But he's I like him. He's a good aggressive driver. He has a really good personality off the racetrack. He's doing a lot of things in the community. So it is what it is. He kind of, in a way, ironically reminds me of Denny Hamlin, even though they don't necessarily get along with each other. Where Denny Hamlin in the race car, a lot of people are like, God, I hate that guy. But then Denny Hamlin outside of the race car, they're like, he's kind of cool outside of the race car. I feel like if a lot of people got to know Joey Logano, or the personality got showed outside of the race car more and more, I feel like they would probably be in the same boat with Joey Logano like they are with Denny Hamlin right now, especially because Denny Hamlin has the podcast. That's when more people started seeing his personality. So we'll see. We'll see if I think Joey's got a media team. So we'll see if Joey starts like a podcast. I know he's on the oh man, is it Sirius XM? I know he does the Sirius XM show from time to time. I don't know if that's a full-time thing or if he just shows up at somebody else's show. I don't have Sirius XM, so that's why I can't. I really don't have that one down, or it's at least not one that I focus on all the time. Let's see. In between the lanes, that King's Hawaiian scheme is released, says OJ. NASCAR wants to see how the in-season tournament goes so they can make it the new point system for 2026, says like dislike. That's a good point. Maybe that's what they're going to do with that deal. So we'll see. We'll see if that's something that they're going to look at going forward too. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that because I haven't even thought about the mid-season points thing because it just never clicks in my mind to think about that for some reason. Going to be interesting to see Briscoe's name on the 19 Toyota Camry XSE and not Truex Jr., even though we will see him in the 56 Toyota Camry XSE when we get to the Daytona 500. Yeah, him being in the 56 though is going to be super cool. Like that's just a super good throwback to his family, especially with everything that went on. The fact that I hate it that he's even having to go through all this stuff, but the fact that he'll be able to run the 56 there at Daytona, going to be a pretty cool deal. Let's see. I hope not. LOL, says OJ and toothpaste. LaJoy preferring to be a back marker in Cup, but not running for wins in trucks is dumb. Probably hurt his career by doing that, says Nepa Racing fan. Yeah, that's certainly a way for people to look at it. That is the counter argument to chasing a dream, the chasing the dream argument that I made at the top of this one. Whereas winning always, makes you look better, and you're gonna be honing racing at the front skills as opposed to chasing your dream, being constantly stuck at the back. That is the counter argument to that. So that is indeed the deal. LaJoy stacking pennies as an analyst for Prime should be interesting, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, but that's his whole deal, and that's part of the reason he made the decision. He's trying to grow the stacking pennies brand, and the stacking pennies brand is to start from the bottom and work your way up. So he doesn't want to. He probably didn't see it good as a brand thing to go to a team that's already established and just win truck series races over there. So I don't know, but that seems to be sort of his MO for this season. Corey just doesn't seem to realize he's not a great driver. He is mediocre at best, says Bumblebee. And there is definitely a lot of people. I think he's a good driver. Do I think he's the next Dale Sr.? Obviously not, but I think he's a pretty solid driver. I think he just pushed way too hard last season. I wouldn't necessarily say he's mid. I would say he's better than average, but he tried way too hard last season. He tried to get more out of the cars than were actually there because he was trying to compete with the phenomenon that is Carson Hocevar, and that's like God-given rare talent that only comes around every so often. So I think he kind of let that pressure get into his head a little bit, and I think it got even worse once he found out, because he knew way before we did that Justin Haley was going to replace him. I think once that happened, he really started pushing, going way too hard because he was probably in his mind trying to audition for a job. So hopefully this season he won't put that much pressure on himself, if that makes any sense. But I don't know. Quattro, 10 months, fist bump, and good to see that the green boxes are popping back up again. Time to push Trackhouse propaganda all year again, says Quattro. So Quattro is the propaganda analyst for Trackhouse, as always. I hope not toothpaste, but NASCAR will NASCAR, says like dislike. OJ and toothpaste. Okay, I only saw Instagram. Joe Gibbs Racing, that scheme covered up with the JGR car. Beat me to MB, says Mark Barnum. 777, we get it, dude. Let's see. Conspiracy time. All 36 charters make the playoffs, make 4 brackets, but use the Chili Bowl qualifying format. 4 1v1s each week, starting with 8 versus 9 seeds, then a final 4. The last 2 races, says Cody Ledger. Yeah, I like that system because it's simple. Like, you only have to read it one time and immediately you know what's going on. So that's actually the beauty of that system. That's a joke though. There's some people that are going to be like, "What's he talking about? That's not funny." Well, it's not funny, but it was a joke. Let's see. Looks like Casey Kane is starting the process to run in Cup soon, says Aaron Flynn. I don't know if he'll run in Cup again because some of his stuff was dehydration related, but it is going to be good to see him at least in an Xfinity Series ride and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see. B says I'm not playing with the trolls tonight. Napa racing fans saying I don't feel bad for drivers and teams necessarily, but hope fans don't freeze for this special event for Bowman Gray. Yeah, hopefully the weather is good enough. Like it's been pretty chilly here. Hopefully it warms up on the nights of that event. It is warmer here than it has been being, so there is that. T Van saying get him B. I can't believe it happened on the December 13th, and we never knew. Said he was a local magician when he left broadcasting to NASCAR. No, to be fair, yeah, that's what I don't know. It just seems really, it seems really bizarre that they wouldn't have known. So that's why I don't understand. They wouldn't have known for that long. Maybe you miss it for a day or two, but you don't miss it for over a month. So I don't know. It feels personal, and that's really sad because he was a huge part of the sport for the time he was an announcer. So just really sad that his career, I guess, ended that way, and really sad that because I guess his career ended that way, they felt like they were still going to hold a grudge here, in my opinion. So just kind of sucks all the way around. Let's see. Um, be talking to the mods there. I think I want Bowman to win the Clash just for namesake. Make a T-shirt saying Bowman wins at Bowman. Says Napa Racing fan. Let's see. He's in the T-shirt game, so we'll see. Whoever wins, hopefully there is a good T-shirt to be gotten out of it. I'll tell you what I want to see on a T-shirt. I don't know if you guys watched the any of the 24 hours, but I want to see that Corvette with my man giving the one finger salute out the side of the Corvette. I want to see that on a T-shirt. That needs to be a T-shirt because I don't know if you've ever been in traffic with a BMW driver, but life art was imitating life or whatever, however you want to say it, because that's how a lot of BMW drivers drive on the road as well. Of course, if you didn't watch the race, the multi-lap car down BMW held up the Corvette, and the Corvette told the other BMW that tried to pass him that he was number one. And it did not help the Corvette's race because there was contact there, and he got out of the cycle to be in the lead. And then toward the end of the race, he decided, if I can't win, you can't win either. And he took out the BMW and got a penalty himself, which gave Ford was probably going to win anyway, but gave Ford the for sure double podium with the first and the third, with another Corvette finishing in second. But stuff got real. Stuff got real at the 24 hours of Daytona, and I'm here for it. That was a pretty exciting finish for sure. Excited for the race this weekend, says OJ and Toothpaste. Me too. It's always good when we get some cars on track. The post season is finally over. One wise guy saying, "What's up to OJ BB? Did you watch any of the Rolex 24 this past weekend?" I did. I watched the beginning and the end of it, and I refused to buy Peacock, so I didn't watch the middle part. So that's just going to be real with it. And I didn't surf the high seas and find it out there. Let's see. What up, OJ? What up, one wise guy? OJ saying what up to one wise guy. Sorry about that. Logano will probably win the Clash since it's a new racetrack for Cup, says Napa Race fan. Good. He has a good history of that. The bum and the BMW getting spun after all he had done and then flipped off was hilarious, says Elise. Indeed. And then he got some more toward the end of the race, so that was even better. How long does Bowman Gray keep the Clash? One off, 2 years or longer. Brazil Clash 2026 was rumored last year. I'll be honest with you. I feel like it's going to be a one-off. I feel like it's going to be a 1 year thing at maximum. I feel like it'll be a 2 year thing. I don't know if they're going to Brazil. I don't know where they're going, but I do feel like they'll go somewhere else next year, or at the most 2 years from now. I love Noah. A guy has legitimate character. He is, man. Noah, he's got a lot of personality. He's really good with the fans too. Like I've told this story a few times, but I'm going to tell it again because it's a great story. I was sitting there at Martinsville for either the Truck Series race or the Xfinity Series race, and Noah Gregson was just going up into the stands. And anybody wearing Noah Gregson gear, he would sit beside him and have a conversation. Then he would go on to the next one. It just shows how cool of a guy he is, that he respects the fans and appreciates them like that. So I always thought that was a really great story from Noah Gragson there. Let's see. Noah Gregson on one of his Instagram posts got me hooked on "Living the Dream" by Morgan Wallen. Says in between the lanes. So his music taste aside, he's still a good guy. So we'll throw that out there. Intrigued to see how. That's a joke. Morgan Wallen's he's a fine singer. He just didn't do a good cover of Jason Aldean's song. Or not Jason Aldean. Jason Isbell's song, "Cover Me Up." Jason Isbell's "Cover Me Up" infinitely better than Morgan Wall's trash version. And there you go. That beef settled. Let's see. Intrigued to see how Prime covers the sport this year. Don't forget they'll have a Dale documentary this year. Also, says Napa Racing fan. I don't want to get a chair thrown at me. I don't want the smoke, Mr. Wallen. Hamlin won Dover with those Mavis colors. Indeed, he did. He's won several races in the Mavis colors, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. Intrigued to see how the Prime covers the sport. Don't forget they also have the Dale documentary this year as well. I had actually forgotten about the Dale documentary, but they are doing that one, so that's going to be really cool. To see what they can come up with for that. Escobar going with Ricky Rudd. Going back to when I was talking about when I say tied, what driver do you think of? So there you go. RFK can let go of Kings Hawaiian with the Kroger sponsorship. RFK is basically Roush Fenway Kroger now, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, for sure. It makes more financial sense for them to do what they did. But it is going to be kind of sad seeing them go, with because you just right now you associate Kings Hawaiian with Brad Keselowski. At least I do. But good pickup for Denny Hamlin. Like if he can get a few wins, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you start associating them with him. Wrangler, Ricky Rudd, or Dale Earnhardt, says Delmer Kaufman. I always go with Dale Earnhardt. I never even think about Ricky Rudd driving for Wrangler, even though I think the best image of him when he's got his eyes taped open, I think he's driving a Wrangler car in that one. But they were actually both driving Wrangler cars at the same time at one point. So, yeah, but good point. Good pickup there. Wrangler's another one with Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt. Ricky Rudd also in that Tide argument as well. Don't forget Matt Kenseth had Tide too. Matt Kenseth did drive the Tide car for a while too. I did not think about that. Good catch there, Napa fan. Eric Jones and Justin Haley recently had Tide schemes. Indeed, I had the Tide hat on for one of the episodes, and everybody was going Darrell Waltrip, and I was like, that's actually an Eric Jones Bristol hat, or was it a throwback? Was it Bristol or a throwback? I think it was Bristol. Yeah, I think it was Bristol because they were doing like the clean car, or because it's Bristol dirt. So I think they were going with like a clean thing or whatever. But that's Eric Jones. There it is, right there, that hat over there, wherever it's at. Let's see. I can't control my arms. Let's see. Bimbo Bread, Ellie, I found your new brand. LOL, says Bumblebee. That's actually a super popular bread brand because I see them on soccer teams all the time. So we don't have it down here though. I haven't seen it down here recently, at least where I shop at. I was watching the 2009 All-Star race and I missed Pennzoil Burnout Challenge. They had with Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Waltrip, Kane, Boyer, Randy Moss was a judge. Indeed, they were. They used to do so much more for the All-Star break. There was so many more activities, and now it's just kind of a race now. So that's kind of a bummer. Although I guess they do still have the pit crew challenge, but it's not anything near as big a deal as it used to be. I guess with one lug nut, I guess it doesn't matter as much anymore. I don't know. Let's see. Kelly, if you weren't my big sister, I'd punch you, says Elise. Ambassador for Bimbo Breads, Elise. Let's see. Allegedly, according to her sister. Now I'm going to catch a fist and a chair. Last night I watched it, says OJ and Toothpaste. B saying LMAO. Wise guy dropping the merch link right there. I wonder if the 22 team sent the 48 team flowers, thanking them for helping the 22 win a title. Oh God. So yeah, there is that as well. So talking about he would have been knocked out of the playoffs if the 48 wasn't illegal after the race. So do you get a championship assist? Is that even a statistic? So yeah, that's a good point. Can't wait for the return of Actions Detrimental. I enjoy listening to James Dennis Allen Hamlin. Indeed, the law firm of James Dennis Allen and Hamlin, of course. A great listen. Actions Detrimental, one of the better podcasts for sure. That the Dale Jr. podcast network family, whatever you want to call it, they're putting out some bangers here recently. I don't know if you've seen the one with Brad Keselowski and Kelly Earnhardt. But that one, if you're into the business side of it, that was a really really good one. I got a few things from there that I probably should talk about at some point. I think in the in season tournament is kind of dumb, but whatever. Why not? Less phony than the playoffs as an Apparatus fan. Logano shows up every other Tuesday on the morning drive. That's what it is. The morning drive with Bagley and Pete Pistone. It's called Behind the Wheel with Joey Logano. Okay, so he does have a segment on it, kind of like I guess like Aaron Rodgers does with Pat McAfee, and Kyle Busch now as well with Pat McAfee. So that's cool. It is a consistent thing. It is an actual segment, so that's cool. LaJoy still hasn't won since the K&N days in 2012. Says Napa Racing fan stacking pizzas with Corey LaJoy. Corey LaJoy catching hell, man. Wow. The Corey LaJoy hate is real. I listen to Happy Podcast with Harvick. Makes a good point, giving Elio a guaranteed spot in the 500 All-Star race. But what about our drivers, MTJ and Harvick? Yeah, it gets to that situation where who gets the provisional and stuff like that. So it is what it is. Like NASCAR's rules. I think it's a terrible rule. I've been pretty vocal that nobody should be locked in for the Daytona 500. It should be just a race to itself. Daytona 500 qualifying was always different. It just adds more prestige to the event. Charters be damned. I don't care about your charter. This is the Daytona 500. Nobody is guaranteed a spot here, and everybody races their way in, period, in the conversation. We'll worry about your point situation next race. If you didn't make the Daytona 500, get good, bro. But I agree with you, BB, on the 500 qualifying. It should be no spots guaranteed. There we go. OJ and Toothpaste. He's on the train with us. Nobody should be locked into the Daytona 500 or the Indy 500. You heard that, Roger Penske? Corey, I don't know anything about IndyCar, but nobody should be locked into the Indy 500. They're talking about doing charters over there. Come on, man. You can't be locking people into the Indy 500. Don't Daytona 500 their Indy 500. Corey's dad made his name in the Busch Series. Indeed, Randy LaJoy, a huge part of the Busch Series back in his day in the old Fina Chevrolet. The Daytona duels should be amazing. Would have been greater without Elio's guaranteed starting spot in that show. And that's another thing. So he's driving a Chevrolet, right? He knows he's in. If at any point in that race he decides that they can get another Chevrolet in, he could manipulate that race by just dropping all the way to the back, and that would put that other Chevrolet in. So there you go. There you have it. Elite, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here as always. Elite always doing good things over there. He's got a banger of an episode coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for him. Because of Bowman Gray, a short track. Any predictions? Is there a fight? The infamous Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano impression of it's just short track racing. I'm sure somebody will get heated. There's no doubt about it. I'm going well over 50% that somebody gets their feelings hurt. I don't know if we'll get an actual fight though. What's up, Elite? Says B, OJ, and one wise guy. Can't wait for your video on industry plants. There we go. Everybody's waiting on it. Elite, no pressure. Take your time. Do your thing. Get it done properly there. Elise also saying what's up to Elite. BB with Corey LaJoy win. Will Corey LaJoy win the Clash this weekend? Strong candidate on Earth 2, but I feel like even on Earth 2, he's going to have some stiff competition. For sure. LaJoy isn't in the Clash. Tim Brown is. Says Napa Racing fan. He's talking about Earth 2. OJ, Napa, he's talking about Earth 2. Let's see. How about this story, BB? Corey LaJoy wins the Daytona 500 and eats up running with the full season in the open car for Rick Ware Racing and gets in the playoffs. Says Dirty Death. That would be what if he could pull off the win? Like that would be crazy. Does he immediately try to figure out a way to run the rest of the season? Man, that would be something else. That would be sort of not necessarily like Mark Martin, but that year that Mark Martin was leading the points and said, "No, I'm still going to run a part-time schedule. I'm not running the whole season." That was very frustrating to a lot of Mark Martin fans. I remember that pretty vividly. Elite giving the salute there, appreciating everybody. BB, I started watching Rich Eisen recently since I haven't watched him in a while. Rich Eisen's good, man. He's the man. I'm betting the Kansas City referees will win the Super Bowl, says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, no comment on that. I'm not even watching the Super Bowl. I don't care about either team, so I'm out. I don't care one way or the other. Hopefully your team wins if you're going to watch it. Jets have a new head coach in Aaron Glenn. Hopefully, he can get things done over there. Hopefully, it doesn't end in another crap fest like it seems to end for the Jets every season. Let's see. Expectations for the Wood Brothers 2025 season, says one wise guy. I think they're going to get. I think they're going to be really good. I think they'll sort of be back to the level they were when Ryan Blaney was there. Josh Berry is a really good talent, so I think he's going to take them there. Trolls getting stung by the bee says like this, like who has the worst officiating, NASCAR or the NFL during I'm going to go Chiefs games. Like that's I'm just going to lean toward the Chiefs there, and I don't even have a dog in the fight. I actually don't have anything against the Chiefs, but it is pretty bad sometimes. Like we've got flopping in the NFL now. That's where sports has gotten to. Like, come on, man, come on. Kane was testing for RCR at the Rock today. Says Brindley, he was for sure, and it's going to be a good deal. Hopefully, hopefully he has a good run there. He knows that place pretty well. He's won there in trucks before, so hopefully he runs well and can get them a win or at least run really really good. I had the Bills winning against the Chiefs this past weekend. Says in between the lanes, if it wasn't for that pesky fourth quarter, they probably would have. Or the tight end dropping the. God, I can't believe the tight end dropped that pass. I can't believe he got the pass to him, and then I can't remember who the tight end was, but the tight end dropped the pass. I was like, oh my God. Hit him right in the hands. It was crazy, but it is what it is. Let's see. Tommy Milner was flipping the bird in the Corvette. Let's see. The Bill Weber news was devastating. I always felt like a lot of fans over NASCAR overlooked him as one of the iconic voices in NASCAR. I'm with you. Like he never gets brought up, but man, I hear his voice all the time when I'm thinking about certain events. Like he was a really, really good announcer, and it's just kind of a bummer, man, that it ended the way it ended, all the way around, all the way around. I had the Chiefs winning. I can't beat the referees. I was rooting for the Bills though, says Napa Racing fan. Hell yeah, brother. Milner gave him the jersey salute, says Tom Silvestro Jr. Indeed, the old New Jersey salute. I hadn't heard that term in a long time, but there's a lot of I used to work at Duke, and there's a lot of people from Jersey that go to Duke University. So I hadn't heard that since I worked at Duke, but good to hear that again. I'd forgotten all about that term. Appreciate you there, Tom. New IndyCar commercial starring Alex Palou came out recently. It did. A lot of people are pretty hyped up about that. Milner, they're more hyped up about the other one, but it's good that Fox is pumping it up. This is Fox's 25th year doing NASCAR coverage as well. So hopefully they can get IndyCar up there the way they got NASCAR up there before they kind of set it aside and don't think about it anymore. That's what it kind of feels like now. Milner has great arm strength. BMW was blocking to help his teammate, which is running second to the vet at the time. So this car, he was, and he actually was supposed to be serving a penalty on the lap that he was doing that, because you can't block that egregiously according to the IMSA rules. So he was supposed to actually be in the pits serving a penalty lap. So he ignored the penalty and continued on for one more lap until his teammate caught him. So it was I'm not going to say it's dirty, but it was as crappy a sportsmanship as you can get to as far as that type of racing goes. Obviously in NASCAR, you can block as long as you want to, because in NASCAR, they'll just move you out of the way. BB the GOAT, looking forward to the 2025 NASCAR season and watching your channel grow as well. Always enjoy your content and lives. Thanks for what you do, says Monster Shots. Appreciate you, Monster. Thank you for the kind words, my friend. And I see your profile pic. We got your guy Jolo right there. My compromise to the playoffs, last 9 races, 1 out of 10 drivers eliminated each race, says Sir Wood Rooster. So there you go. Just have somebody drop each race. That would be a pretty cool way to do it. How about Fox giving IndyCar great promotion while NASCAR gets done ad with a zoom up on Logano, Gordon, and Earnhardt winning the 500? Yeah, and that's just part of the deal. Like I said, they've had NASCAR for 25 years. They're trying to build up the IndyCar audience like they have the NASCAR audience right now. So for a while, there's going to be a disparity in how they promote and sponsor things. So that's just going to be part of it. And it's going to be frustrating to a lot of people. I understand that. According to Alexa, Sunday should have a high of 61 degrees, and Sunday in my part of North Carolina, says Delmar. So there you go. Hopefully it'll be a nice day for them to have the clash. One of the other Corvettes spun one of the BMWs, says in between the lanes. Indeed. It was actually the same car. I don't know if it was the same driver, but they they got their get back, as the kids say. In between the lanes, I think the Bass Pro Shops is sponsoring Briscoe for the entire season. I forgot what source it was. That wouldn't surprise me. They pretty much did the same thing with Martin Truex, except for like select auto owners insurance races. I live about 5 miles from Bowman Gray, sunny and 50 degrees for the Sunday forecast, says Jimmy Howard. Same vet spun the BMW, says Escobar. I was thinking it was the same vet for sure. For sure. Who was the top finishing stock car driver at the Rolex? Ooh, I don't know about top finishing, but I know top finishing in his class, I think, was Austin Cindric. He got that podium with his Ford Mustang in the GTD class. I'm not sure if any other NASCAR driver finished in front of him overall, though. So I don't know. Hey, brother, did you watch the Bowman Gray documentary? I haven't seen it yet, Danny, but I am going to check it out when I get a chance. So hopefully, hopefully by this weekend, I will have seen it. I'll say that. What was the worst? What was worse for Briscoe last year? Bill prematurely announcing Chase is in the car at New Hampshire, or Chase wearing his Toyota Bass Pro shirt while at a Ford museum. Oh, wearing the no doubt wearing the Bass Pro Toyota shirts at a Ford museum. I'm gonna go. That's probably worse. Hamlin won Spring Richmond with the Mavis colors as well. Says in between the lanes with the money they spent on safer barriers, I think they will be back at the Madhouse next year, says Delmer Kaufman. They might be. That's a pretty good point, but I don't know. They spent money and they completely rebuilt and tore up a racetrack at LA. So I don't know. I don't know. That could go either way. Headed to the race Friday once the chemo pumps come off, says Michael Honeychuck. Well, that's good. And we thoughts and prayers go out to you, man. Keep fighting that thing. And we got your back, buddy. I hate that you're going through that, but give it hell. We got your we're keeping you in our thoughts and prayers over here. Let's see. Chase Elliott has the Napa white scheme back, says in between the lanes. So he did the all blue last year, so they're going back to the all white this year. Edie, in your opinion, do you think the Bills can ever get over the hump and finally beat the Chiefs? I would like to see the Bills win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, but do the Bills get over the hump? Historically, they just don't. They went to 4 Super Bowls and didn't win them. Like, it's just been, if you're a Bills fan, I don't have to explain any of this to you. I hope they do, though. They've got a really great team. They've got a great quarterback. Couple plays away, really. Couple plays away from beating the Chiefs, but didn't bounce their way. Hopefully they put it together one year and can bring the Super Bowl home to the fans in Buffalo. Yeah, NASCAR doesn't promote anymore. How many commercials for the Clash have you seen? Good point. Good point, Michael Honeychuck. Not one on local, nothing. I wouldn't even know there was a race this weekend. That's a phenomenal point. That's a phenomenal point. A lot of it is on NASCAR as well. Bill already lost, says Escobar. I haven't seen any ads for the Clash. Dom Logano Daytona 500 15-second ad. I have seen a lot of local news channels promoting the Clash because Delmar lives pretty close to it, so that's what he's referring to there. Hey guys, I'm late, says Lovey Barkley. Penske won the Rolex 24. Yeah, Penske's on a heater. They're on a heater like nobody else right now. NASCAR Cup Series champions 3 years in a row. They've won. They won the IMSA overall championship. They won the 24 hours of Daytona. They need like a Daytona 500. They won the Indy 500 as well. Need a Daytona 500. They'd really be on a heater then. So we'll see. And they've got fast super speedway cars. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them get the Daytona 500 win this year either. NASCAR, I just did an hour-long promotion of the Clash last night on FX1. Basically, NASCAR is saying drivers from other series are more important to get into the field than our own X-Cup champions. But if you're a Cup driver, you better not go racing those other things and miss a NASCAR Cup Series race because that's going to put you down to 0 points now as far as the championship's concerned. Funny old world, ain't it? Lovey Barkley saying, what's up, the lanes? If Hamlin never gets a championship before he retires, does he get approved for the provisional spot? That's a good question. If Mike Wallace sponsors the feminine pads and sported hair and smoked something, would he have been able to get into the Daytona race? I don't know. You have to ask NASCAR that. I don't know, man. Let's see. What's up, BB? Live on a Tuesday evening. Says in between the lanes. Let's see. Ironic that Corey LaJoy is one of the few drivers that won a K&N race at Bowman Gray, and now he's not even going to be racing there this weekend. Yeah, it comes down to money as far as that goes, and I think he probably wanted to race races that were points paying because they probably had more eyes on him. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know what his rationale is behind that one. Well, NASCAR or maybe Garrett Smithley or somebody beat him to or a car or not Garrett Smithley, but Tim Brown, I guess maybe beat him to the car there or something. I don't know. Will NASCAR watch for race manipulation during the duels? Says Delmer Kaufman. Can you even police it though? Can you? That's my thing. Can you police that? I don't know that you can police it. So I don't know. If Corey doesn't make the '01 car look good, he will have no options for 2026. Maybe we'll have to see. Before we live stream, BB, I read that Josh Remy was not a fan of LaJoy's comments. Says in between the lanes. Yeah, I can easily see where somebody took it the wrong way, but I get what Corey LaJoy was getting at. He probably, like I was saying with the Ty Gibbs thing, he just didn't word it in the best way. Bimbo bread is the wonder bread of Mexico, been down there forever, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, and I think that's where I see it on soccer jerseys and stuff all the time. If you watch TV late enough at night, they back in the day when I had Direct TV, they would always have international soccer games on, and there was always somebody with a with Bimbo across their shirt there. What is the format for the Clash? Says like dislike. They're gonna have I think 3 heat races, maybe 4 heat races, and then they're gonna have the actual race day. They're gonna have a 75 lap last chance race. Then they're gonna have the actual Clash itself. So which is gonna be 200 laps, and they're gonna have 22. I think it's 22 cars in the field off the top of my head. I don't have anything right in front of me. Kyle Rowdy Bush wins the Super Bowl, says in between the lanes. Here we go. Napa Racing Fan, 200 laps, top 22 drivers get in. There's a 23rd. Okay, so there's a 23rd provisional spot for the highest in points from last season that didn't qualify. I forgot about the highest in points from last season. Kincaid was the tight end that dropped the pass. So there you go. Let's see what drive in the new seat has. What driver in a new seat has the best season? I say the 71 of McDowell. Says like dislike. That's a good pick. I'm probably going to go with. I'll probably go with either him or Josh Berry. So I feel those are probably 2 pretty good solid picks there. 425 lap heats, top 5 from each heat make the show. Last chance qualifier with 2 making it in. Mark Andrews, that was he was for Baltimore. Baltimore, he's definitely not getting a lot of love in Baltimore. He didn't have his finest performance for the Ravens, but yeah, for sure, he was the good of that game. No one likes Patrick Mahomes besides me, says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't know about that. I don't dislike him. I just don't necessarily like the way the games are being called. Joe Burrow is the only QB to beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship. Unfortunately, Kyle Pitty wasn't testing at the Rock today. Fortunately for me, because he would stink it up if he did. He's too fast there. Lovey Barkley saying, "What's up to OJ? How concerned are you about the Denny Hamlin in terms of sponsorship? I think you'll be fine. Danny. I wouldn't worry about it. They'll have plenty of money for him over there. As crazy as it sounds, for the reasons they got rid of Kyle Busch, I think they'll have plenty of money for him over there." At Joe Gibbs Racing, the footage from Rockingham practice scratched an itch, and the itch is now worse, says Timber. Let's see. Brady beat Mahomes too in the 2020 AFC Championship. What up, Lovey Barkley, says OJ and Toothpaste. People crying about Mahomes. Do you realize his record is 17-3 in the playoffs, flop or not? I'm not complaining about Mahomes. I just don't like the way that it's being officiated. Like you can't just don't let him flop. Like, it is what it is. Chiefs win equals more. Taylor Swift, says Delmer Kaufman. Most important, New Jerseyans, and it's nothing against the Chiefs. I've seen them win the Super Bowl before. I've seen the Eagles win the Super Bowl before. Just not interested this season. The other stories were better as far as those teams winning, but those teams didn't get the job done. But I'm not interested in the Super Bowl this year. It's nothing necessarily against those other teams. It was the same thing in the mid 2000s with Jimmy Johnson. I'd seen him win a bunch of times. There was nothing against Jimmy Johnson. I was just freaking tired of seeing it, man. So it's like whatever. I was like, once it got toward the end of the season, it looked like he had it wrapped up again. It's like I'm not watching the rest of these races. It is what it is. You can't watch a guy win that many times in a row and not get tired of it. That's just that's the way it is. Most important, New Jerseyans, Martin Truex Jr. or Martin Truex, says in between the lanes. I would say probably Martin Truex Jr. Or Ryan Truex. Sorry, I would say Martin Truex Jr. for sure. Uh, did you watch any of the Rolex this last weekend? I took your advice and ended up watching 12 to 13 hours of the event. Awesome to see them race like that at night. Yeah, I watched the beginning and the end, and I just didn't. I just kind of zoned out for the middle parts because I was working on other stuff. I didn't feel like paying for 1 month of Peacock. Their portion of the season. The off season is about to be on again, says Lovey Barkley. How about the Ford Mustang was super fast in the GTD Pro class? Austin Cindric really impressed me. He went from eighth to ninth or eighth to second during the night part. Shout out to Connor Zilic too. At one point, he made a pretty good push too and got his car up to fourth or third. Let's see. The Corvette BMW battle overshadowed the winner and podium finishers, says Timber Ace. Indeed. Indeed. I don't think a lot of people are even going to remember who won the race, Penske and the Porsche. Nasser, I think, was the final driver there, but most people are going to remember the Corvette BMW battle from that particular race. Let's see. You will see me and my son. They do a story on it on us in the documentary, says Danny. I remember that now. Yeah, I do want to watch it. I just didn't get a chance to watch it last night. Dirty Death, that new Ford Mustang is fire. They sold a 2025 on Barrett Jackson this last weekend, 810 horsepower. Yeah, and Rick Hendrick bought VIN number 1 of the Corvette, some special ZR1, Z06 or something like that. Let's see. I think it was Sims and Corvette. They looped the Beamer, got what they deserved. Even Parker Kligerman said it should have been done, says Tom. Pull for the Chevy. So for the 24, I'm pulling for the Vets. But something about Rexy that makes it a fan favorite. That's a good looking car. There's no doubt about it. That was a great. That's a great job from that team there, the Porsche team. To all the fans going to the Clash, it's not the best neighborhood. Stay aware of your surroundings outside the track. Connor Zilic spent the most time in the car by far and also cut the fastest lap in Trackhouse Corvette. How do you think he'll do in his Cup debut at COTA? I think he's going to do probably fairly well. He's probably more used to those because it's kind of like kind of like a sports car. So it'll probably be feeling pretty familiar to him on that track at least. Maybe who do you have on the front row for the Daytona 500? It was it FRM, HMS, or Penske? I'm gonna go with HMS there because they usually trim out their cars more than anybody else. Do you think Kyle Larson is done with RCR after this season? I think that's going to depend on how this season goes. One wise guy, if I'm guessing, it's time for Blaney to win the Daytona 500, says Timber Ace. Him and a lot of other people. Time for Kyle Busch to win it as well. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. I watched Barrett Jackson and saw Rick Hendrick, Kyle Larson, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart in attendance. Mr. H bought VIN number 001, which is his MO, Corvette ZR1. That's what it was. Do we need to bring back the past champions rule for the 500? I don't know. I'm more of the opinion that nobody gets locked in. That's kind of where I'm at with the Daytona 500. Rick spent close to $4.5 million for those vets. Kyle Larson, Daytona 500 win. Only thing that was missing, he had won the Coke 600, Brickyard All-Star, and the Southern 500. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Indeed, he's got to get another crown jewel there to complete the franchise or whatever, the series or whatever. In between the lanes, saying crazy, talking about how much money Rick Hendrick spent. I can't say LaJoy was really wrong in his statement because nobody gives a fudge about the truck series, says Lovey Barkley. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he meant it as disrespect so much as he meant it as I really want to be in the Cup series, but he could have worded it better, but it is what it is. Lovey Barkley saying, what's up to Wise Guy? I know everyone talks about having the Clash at the back at Daytona, but I can't imagine it would be that interesting with this current car. I'm sure it would finish with a wreck before they reach the checkers, says Dirty Death. Oh, there's probably going to be some pushing and shoving for sure. What's up, Lovey, says One Wise Guy. Have you seen Mac Hollins of the Bills walk barefoot? Yeah, they play that one a lot. There's some people that actually they're getting to the point where they're tired of seeing that one as well. Hope safer barriers don't take up too much space at the racetrack for Bowman Grace as an Napa racing fan. Eagles fans were rough on the Commanders fans attending the game. I'm totally shocked that the Eagles fans were rough on somebody. It is what it is. I never got tired of Jimmy winning or Jeff in the '90s. I mean, that's fair enough if you're a fan of those, but everybody else got kind of old after a while. Let's see. Not a lot of Rolex 24 was on TV, which stinks. So I only saw the beginning, then until 6:30, and caught the ending on NBC on Sunday. Says In Between the Lanes. Let's see. Same In Between the Lanes, says Lovey Barkley. Most of the Rolex 24 was on Peacock exclusively. Unfortunately, all of 12 hours of Sebring on Peacock too. Says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, so next year, like if you want a pretty easy hack for that, just get a VPN and say you're from a foreign country, because they were showing it for free on YouTube if you weren't in the United States. So there you go. Next year, there's your hack. Let's see. Pro Bowl event starts Thursday and flag football game on Sunday. I still watch the Pro Bowl, even though many people may not care about the Pro Bowl anymore. Says In Between the Lanes. Hello, Lovey Barkley. Says Bumblebee. Come on, B. HMS sucks. Says Like Dislike. Danny Gray's and Cars Toys. I saw that last night. That's awesome. Your son enjoys racing. Get those autographs. Hey, there you go, Danny Gray. You're famous now, man. Everybody knows about you. So that's really cool. I can't wait to wait to watch it and specifically see that segment now. So I'm actually pretty stoked about it. What I appreciate about this weekend is there will be on the track coverage Saturday and Sunday. How about Larry Mack said he'll be at most of the racetracks this season with his work on Fox. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. NASCAR owns and controls IMSA. So how do they do that right? Yet they F up the Cup Series so bad? I don't know. BB, did your Austin Dillon Richmond diecast win and Kyle Busch Texas truck win arrive yet? The Kyle Busch truck win, we got that one right there. We're looking at a summertime for Austin Dillon, but we did finally get the Kyle Busch truck win, so we got him up there. Put him underneath Kyle Larson and above Eric Jones, I think, right there. Then you got Harvick, Terry Labonte, and Tony Smoke Stewart. So there you go. The Clash at Rockingham, I think would be awesome. Says Delmar Kaufman. It could be for sure. That would definitely put some butts in seats. I think Austin Dillon is eligible for the All-Star race with his Richmond win, which once again proves my point. It was more about the playoffs than Austin Dillon actually wrecking somebody. They didn't want somebody that low in points being in the playoffs. So shout out to Harrison Burton by basically the very next week going out there and winning and having somebody that low in the points in the playoffs anyway. Harrison Burton, you are the man. Let's see. So did they take out the inside grass option at Bowman Gray? Is there a wall there now? Says they're I actually haven't seen the track layout yet, so I'll have to check that one out. BB, if you had a fire suit in NASCAR, you getting Alpine Stars, Sparco, or Simpson? I would probably go K1. I would probably go K1 because I've had some of their stuff. They actually make stuff that's affordable at the local level as well. So I would go K1. Simpson is probably the next most affordable. But back in the day, if you asked me this question, it definitely would have been either Sparco or Alpine Stars, so you can look like all the rest of the cool kids. I feel like that's just like I don't know. I feel like Alpine Stars and Sparco, that's like, I don't know. They felt like a more premium brand back in the day, if that makes any sense. Puma actually would be like if I was going that route though. Puma, like they made some pretty cool ones back in the day too. They still make them for Penske, if I'm not mistaken. Is that your first Truck Series diecast? No, I've got a Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick's very first win. This autograph, I've got that one. I hardly ever break it out of the box. Let's see. I want the Kyle Busch 124 Safe Flight Tundra from 2024. Josh Berry has an all red scheme for the Wood Brothers. Yeah, it looks really good, and it's a throwback to what they call the backseater car. So that's a really cool one as well. No inside wall at Bowman Gray, according to the show last night. Says Delmar Kaufman. BB, what are some shock winners you see happening out of nowhere in 2025? Austin Cindric's going to win again. Josh Berry's going to get a win. I think you got a chance to see it. Noah Greg's a win. I think Connor Zilic and SVG have good chances of winning. So off the top of my head, those would probably be the drivers. I don't know if they'll be shock winners, but I think you can see them win. And if they give Eric Jones anything to race with over there at Legacy, he can win. So he would be another, I guess, shock winner that could possibly happen. Will there be any surprise breakouts at the start of the Cup season? First three tracks, Daytona, Atlanta, Coda, could produce different drivers up front in points after those races. I think you could see. I think you could see a situation where Trackhouse comes out really, really fast because those are Trackhouse type tracks. So I wouldn't sleep on Trackhouse. So probably Suarez, Ross, and SVG could come out of the gates pretty fast. That would not surprise me. Any wins for Austin Dillon? Hey, look, he usually wins a race every other year, so it would be cool to see him go back to back years with a win. So, and this time the win would actually get him in the playoffs. So that would probably be a good thing as well. So yeah, I could definitely see Austin Dillon winning. It just depends on if they can get the setups this year. They were a little bit off for most of the season last year, although the second half of the season they did turn it on a little bit. Is Texas Super Speedway on Earth 2? Oh yeah, the great big one. Yeah, that one's still running wide open. Will Connor in the '87 do good at Coda? I think he'll do really good at Coda, OJ and Toothpaste. I'm really big on his talent. Did you see what the Reddick Jordan brand scheme for 2025? Yeah, I think they're going to run that one at the Clash, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they had unbanned on the back of it, which refers to a shoe that Michael Jordan wore his first year that had too much red and black on it. Back in the day, the shoes had to be the team color and white mostly. So they had black and red on a shoe, and the shoe got banned, and then the shoe got unbanned or something like that. So that's what it's referencing. But obviously, with the lawsuit going on, a lot of people are saying that they were throwing shade at NASCAR, so they removed the unbanned part of it from the back of the car. So that became a thing on social media for a little bit. So it is what it is. Whether they did it on purpose or not is anybody's guess. It probably is, in my opinion, probably is a little bit of shade being thrown at NASCAR, but it's been a contentious lawsuit. I would expect nothing less. And it's pretty funny, also, at the end of the day, if we're being real about it. BB, thoughts on the MX5 Cup big one? That was crazy. I mean, other than that, not really any thoughts. It was just pretty wild. I hate it for the guys that have to work on those cars because they're probably not used to that much carnage. Let's see. Where did Harrison land? He's over there at AM. Yeah, he's over there at AM in the Xfinity Series, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head. Somebody can check that, but I think he's at AM. What manufacturer did Jimmy Johnson run for in IndyCar? Honda, like dislike, which there you go. Could lead to if Honda comes into the sport. A lot of people have mentioned, hey, maybe that's why Jimmy Johnson is breaking away from Toyota. They're just setting up for the future, being with Honda and whoever else Honda would bring with them. AM for Harrison is correct. No more rookie stripes is like dislike. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I missed the old rookie stripe back in the day, so it stinks that they're not putting that on the cars anymore. I saw that with the Miata Cup race. Says in between the lanes. Is JJ technically an IndyCar driver now? Says Lovey Barkley. I mean, he's technically an IndyCar driver, just like Tony Stewart's technically an IndyCar driver, and a drag racer, and a dirt racer, and a Cup Series driver. So yeah, if you drive for multiple seasons, I think you can claim yourself as a driver of that series for sure. I would love to see a newer version of the Goodies Dash back, says Escobar. Goodies Dash series was huge back in the day. I can see that for sure. So maybe we'll see it. All right. Looks like we've reached the end of it here. Final results of the poll question. 39% saying that the points format will change in 2026. 34% saying that they will change, but they will somehow make it worse. LOL. And 27% saying it will not change in 2026 either. All right. That's the end of this one. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, peace.